Hi everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Good evening, everyone. So let's start with our today's tech talk. I'm your host, Shriyanshu Srivastava. I'm a competitive coder and an open source enthusiast, skilled in C, C++, and Python, with sufficient knowledge of cloud and machine learning.
Hello, everyone. I am Simran, and I'm the core team member of DSC. And I have been into web development and also an open source contributor. I have also been Girl Script Summer of Code 2020 participant too. Okay, so now it's time to start our webinar. So it's over to you, Shreyansh.
Okay, so today we are here to know the important experience of the GSoCers. Google Summer of Code is near, and it's the time for all the aspirants who want to participate knows the do's and the don'ts. So here we are with our awesome three speakers who have achieved success in GSoC in our today's webinar. So let's welcome Samarth Sharma, Jaskirat Singh, Shivan Srivastava. Samarth, would you like to brief us about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Why not? So, hey everyone, my name is Samarth. I contributed to the organization Uniform Digital Library Initiative for Google Summer of Code 2020. I've also been very active on other platforms, majorly GitLab, on providing PRs to various organizations and also tracking out various technological developments and enhancements, so forth. So, hey everyone.
Thank you. This was very nice to hear from you, Samarth.
Yeah, so moving on to just Kirat, we know you have been the mentor, so it would be great if you can brief yourself to us.
Yep, sure. Thank you so much for having me today. So, hey everybody, just here this side, and I've been working as a open source research strategist and tech diversity community management specialist, developing new and improving existing computer-based technologies in the advanced open source ecosystem. I have been into GSoC. I have been acting as a organization administrator and a mentor in the past 3 years in the GSoC, and it's really fun being a part of these type of programs. So, yeah.
So amazing. We are so glad to have you here, Kirat.
Okay, so moving on to Shivansh. So we know that you have been a constant open source contributor. So would you like to brief us about yourself? I guess Shivansh sir is not able to hear us. So okay, no worries. Let him join again. Uh,
Okay,
Simran, you
so
can start with the question so that
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so now we are starting with our question session. Okay, so here's the question for you, Samath. What is GSoC and how did you come to know about GSoC and what was your biggest motivation?
Well, GSoC is an opportunity to be a part of the open source contributing platform. Majorly, it's an event that's sponsored by Google. There's a general misconception out there that it's a internship in Google. That's not true at all. And just talking about GSoC, I also hear these very general sayings such that how do we crack GSoC? So for anyone who's looking to crack GSoC, GSoC is not an open source competitive exam. You can't crack it. It's not an entrance test. So feel free to be a part of open source community. Open source really means to do something without expecting anything in return. And what was my biggest motivation? I actually started to work on React, and one of the following projects that they are doing right now is called GraphQL. It's pretty much the same division by Facebook. They are promoting these two technologies ahead. So I was very much interested to learn GraphQL. So I started making PRs on their GraphQL documentation site. Later on, I joined their Slack channel, and they all these have this communication channels where it's Gitter, Slack, or any of them. They even use Satcom sometimes. Well, it really depends upon the organization. Nonetheless, so I actually got to know about GSoC from them, and I wanted to be a part of it just because it seemed like a very good opportunity.
It's so amazing to know this, and thank you so much, Samad, for clarifying the doubt about GSoC.
Yeah. So moving on to just Kirit. So here's a question for you. When we talk about GSoC, we talk a lot about contributions. So what exactly do we mean about contributions in it? What are good or bad contributions?
Okay, so starting from the open source. So open source is basically something which where you contribute to a open code, right? So talking about contribution is not specifically restricting to the development stuff. So contribution is something you are being a part of something. You are like putting some your knowledge. You are putting your kind of things in coming out with some prospectus or and better outcomes. So contribution can be of any type. It can be related to the development stuff, it can be related to the designing stuff, it can be related to the documentation stuff. So but when we talk about GSoC related contribution, so GSoC is a coding oriented program where one needs to be a part of an organization and effectively contributes in the development phase. So so yeah, like when we talk about GSoC, so one needs to contribute in the development phase, be it the coding style or be it in the research oriented stuff. And talking about the good or the bad contribution, good or bad, in my terms, is something where one contributes effectively with the coding style of a specific project or a specific organization which they have been following up, the ethics which they have built upon, and the code of conduct on which the specific project or the organization run. So these are the basic necessities which every open source contributor should be aware about when they are planning to move ahead and participate in open source organizations. So and yeah, so uh, at the last, I would just like to mention that in order to be a better contributor in any of the respective organization, one should always follow the open source licensing. Licensing is again an important role while they are contributing. So whenever a project is open source, it doesn't mean that it is a part of the open source organization or open source projects, but one is something like if they have the valid open source license. The license, I mean, like whether it's available for modifying or adding some new creation. So that is something one needs to adhere about and they needs to take into consideration while being a part of the contribution phase.
Okay, so it was so nice to hear from you, sir. So we have Shivansh over here. So, Shivansh, would you like to brief us about yourself?
Okay, so hi guys, everyone. Sorry for the technical issues. So I'm a full stack web developer and a hybrid cloud evangelist, and have been closely working with Circuitverse for a year now. I am a keen open sourcer and um, a, like a, I contribute to a lot of open source repositories, and yes, that is all about me. I also have been like working with Udacity as a project contributor and reviewer, and have earned like 3 nano degrees from there. That's pretty much all about me.
Yeah, it was really great.
So amazing. Okay, so let's
So
move ahead to our Mm, Okay. Okay, so let's move
yeah,
ahead
yeah,
to
continue.
our next question. Okay, so this is another question for you, Samarth, again. And if any one of you, Jaskirat or Shivansh, you want to add on, you definitely can. So the question is, where do we basically contribute to? Like, should a comment or PR made on GitHub be called a contribution?
Well, it's not limited to just GitHub. GitLab is also a very popular uh, website for these contributions, and it's not limited to commit or PR itself. You're discussing issues containing on development in any other format. To make it like on paper basis sort of contribution, it's mostly PR, marking issues, and committing something and so forth. But I believe so. Contribution is anything that you're providing anything valuable to an organization or a project.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was amazing.
Okay, so moving ahead, Shivansh. So, on what basis shall we choose our organization? Are there any prerequisites for that?
Okay, so I consider that organizations can be chosen because, like, depending on the tech stack of the person, we can choose organizations. So, like, I was a web-oriented person, so I just like filtered out organizations given on the archives page. You can just go there, filter out the organizations based on the tech stack you use, or like the domain are you like, and then you can continue to like choose the organizations, closely interact with them, and work on their issues.
Okay, so this is pretty much clarify our doubt.
I will also like to add something over to this specific question. So, whenever we're talking about choosing an organization, I feel that like choosing an organization is one of the important thing whenever if we are planning or if we are targeting the GSoC, because there are number of organization which place on a specific tech stack, right? And in order to understand the tech stack which we have acquired and which specific organization is being running upon, so that is something which is very important. So one should, whenever whosoever is targeting the GSoC, I feel that like they should be able to research every organization on what specific tech stack they work upon, or what projects do they have, does those projects matches with my skill set or not, or if I need to learn any specific new thing new, so would that be possible in learning in a short span period. So these are a few things which one should take into consideration whenever they're approaching for a specific organization.
Yeah,
Yeah,
agreed. Just that's really like good to know, because we everyone can obviously explore all the organizations, and if they want to learn anything new, they can surely do that.
yeah, it's really
Yeah.
nice to hear.
Okay. So, for the another question, we are gonna take everybody's opinion on that. Okay, so let's start with Samarth. So, what according to you is the best timeline to choose an organization and start contributing to it?
I would recommend you to start as soon as possible. I mean, you don't need to wait for the program to be announced. Just start off as soon as you can. You need to show it to the potential mentors that you are capable of completing project by yourself at the end of the day. And now the question basically boils down to how to choose an organization, or what's the best time to choose an organization. So I honestly aimed for uh, GraphQL to start off for the GSoC project, but it didn't happen. So it's very dynamic. You need to update your uh, your preferences according to what projects are coming up and what sort of tech stacks are they throwing at you. For example, the project that I was contributing to, it was actually transported to another program. It's called GSoC. It's Google Season of Docs. It was transported to that. So I had to start off with a different organization midway. So it's not necessary that whatever organization you choose for, you'll definitely get it. So be ready to face that as well.
Yeah, I would like to add on one another question that is it like should we choose like more like three or four organizations, or should we stick to one organization and wait for it?
I mean, going three or four direction at one point of time, in any case, I don't think so. It would result in you getting a piece of anything at all. So it's better to be focused on one or two things at max rather than going all the way out to grab attention of four or more organizations at the same time.
Okay, so we can continue this question with Shivansh. What should be the timeline that a student should follow to get their proposal accepted?
Okay, so what I consider is I agree with Samarth. There is no specific timeline. So users like the student participants can start in around this time is like the most preferred time by the GSoC students, because from this time we start interacting with the organizations. We look out in the archives, and then we go to their IRC channel and like talk to the mentors or the org admins. And I consider that if anyone starts late in like February, then also they can cope up with the, if they are potential, if they have potential and they are good, so they can cope up with the things and like get selected. If their proposal is really well, they can get selected. So there is no specific timeline for this decided. But yeah, if the it all depends on the students potential, how well they can do while writing their proposal and making their contributions.
Yeah, it was so amazing to know this. I hope this information would be useful to our audience. Thank you so much.
Okay, so moving ahead, so just Kirit. So this is a question for you: that when and how should I write a proposal, and what is a good proposal, and how many proposals can a student submit?
Okay, so talking about the proposal, which is again the important part, and one needs to complete in order to participate in GSoC. So talking about a proposal is something. It's not, it's not a kind of a book which one needs to write in order to get accepted. It's a kind of a few page thing where you have to mention each and everything, starting from your background, your knowledge which you hold, and the projects which you have worked upon, and the contributions which you have made to the specific organization. These are the basic thing which you would see in every proposal. But again, the one's proposal gets stand out from the other one is the working prototype, or I would say a kind of a demonstration part, like how you are specifically approaching the problem which you are trying. Problem, I mean, is like the idea under the organization which you're trying to accomplish, right? So you would see around like people who are targeting to a specific idea. Like there would be around 15 to 20 people who might be targeting to the specific idea. They would be writing the proposal. But how efficient and how nicely you represent the things, like the problems, how nicely you represents the solution to the specific problem, that would always make you stand out of the other people. So I in my from my experience, I have seen like people are trying to explain each and every aspect, like how they would be solving a specific problem with a demonstration part. They're able to explain the, like suppose if specific idea has got like they needs to build up a kind of a project from the scratch, right? So like there are generally many ideas which are similar to, like you have to build something from scratch, or you have to follow this specific tech stack in order to build something like this, right? So in order to build something from scratch, there are many approaches, there are many features which you can add upon into that specific thing. So it should be like how and how beautifully you course the thing. I mean, like not specifically like you have to say, okay, I will definitely do this thing, so please count me in into the GSoC. So you don't have to do like those things, but something is like you have to showcase that you are capable of solving that specific problem with like if you are planning to add this specific feature into this specific project, you should be able to follow this specific approach, and you need to come up with this specific, like the outcome would be like this, right? So like I have also seen people like who generally prepares a kind of a basic layout generally, even starting the exact official GSoC, right? They just demonstrate each and everything inside the proposal. So again, my suggestion would be is that like you have to mention each and everything. Like it should be more technical related stuff, right? Like how you are exactly approaching the problem, and what would be the pros and the cons if you're using a specific thing. So like suppose if I generally talk about like suppose people use there are many documentation tools, right? Like we use Gitbook, we use Finex, we use GitHub wikis, right? But one needs to able to demonstrate that like how Gitbook stands different from or is useful from the other two platforms, like why this specific aspirant is using this specific I mean like tool in order to come with the specific solution. So you should be able to convince your mentor, you should be able to convince your community members, okay, so this is something which is very useful for your project, and it would be helpful for the other users as well, you know, if whenever they're going to use it, right? So it should be a more technical oriented thing, and it be should hold information which is something which should cover each and every corner of your project. And talking about like how many proposals one can target or one can submit is, I guess like Google generally allows three, like till date it allows three proposals per user, right? But it is not limited to specific organization. You can submit three proposals to any of the three projects or the organizations taking part in the GSoC. So yeah, this is how things have to be.
Yeah, okay, so thank you. So,
Okay, so
Just want to
moving
add
on.
one point.
Yeah.
Just want to add one point to this. So making a good proposal means like what I think is I've seen proposals this year, and people generally, like students generally add multiple features that they want to introduce to it, but they don't like go in deep with that and just enlist all the features out there. But I want to tell you all, like you have to be really like detailed with the issues. You just not want the mentors to like know what all features you are introducing, but you also want them to know how you are going to work on them. Like be it only one or two features, but make it detailed, not it like introducing a bunch of features, like enlisting all of them and not even just going in detail of any one. So be detailed and use quality work.
One thing more I missed over here is that like whosoever be the aspirant, they needs to take care of the plagiarism. They should write their own proposal, right? Generally you will find proposals like, since it's an open source program, right? And usually organizations try to keep everything open, right? So you will generally find proposals as well, maybe on their GitHub or somewhere on their wikis, right? So you can definitely take help from those proposals, but you don't have to just copy and paste your things into your proposal. If you do those things, you will generally be eliminated. So that is something you should be very much cautious about, and you should be like you should be expressible in your proposal instead of just targeting the other proposals, just copying and pasting into yours. So yeah.
Thank you so much. It was so useful. Okay, so so moving ahead, let's start with Shivansh. When we talk of sending a proposal, should we make some specific number of contributions or prepare one with a few or with many contributions? Like, where do we send it and what is the number of contributions, like a specific number?
Okay, so number of contributions do not decide your selection in GSoC. This is the first thing that I want to clear with every participant. If you make even one contribution to the organization, and if your proposal is really really strong, then it makes your chances really high to get selected. It's also like if you have done a lot of contributions, say 30 PR merged or 40 PR merged, but your proposal isn't really good enough, so that lessens your chances to get selected. So the main thing that I want to clear is this, that the number of contributions really don't decide your selection. And yes, the contributions, apart from the PRs, bug fixing, and the issues opened, the users can obviously make useful contributions like UI UX design, in the like creating assets and design in the organization, or like the documentation guides, say like the API testing guides or the setup guidelines or the contribution guidelines. These can be easily like contributed by the student participants. Also, the testing of various features, reviewing of PRs and issues are also considered as the contributions within the community and the organization. But making a good proposal, as Jaskira told, is really really important for getting selected in GSoC, because that's where the mentor interacts with the student after knowing what all the student has planned and in which way. So this is all about this question.
Thank
And
you so much, Shivan, for
uh,
clarifying the doubt.
for the sending of proposal, so the user can, like the student can obviously send it to the like the mentor for reviewing in the application period. So the mentor can mentor or the organization admin can review the draft proposal, be it in a Microsoft Word file. So this is all about.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much, Shivansh. Okay, so extending the question um, to Jaskirat, the question is for Jaskirat. Who takes the proposal and how to check if our proposal is received or not? Like, do we get a mail or is there a portal for the same?
Okay, so everything, whatever happens within the part of GSoC, it generally takes through the GSoC portal itself. Like generally, like not generally, but exactly the aspirants have their own dashboard, and the mentors and admins have their own dashboard. So whenever the students submit their proposals through their own dashboard, the mentors who are assigned to that specific project and the admins are notified through the email as well as through their portals, right? So this is something which they are generally notified about, and they can take care of the proposals which have been submitted.
Thank you so much,
But
Jaskirat, for
yeah,
letting us know this.
yeah, but other thing is that like you don't have to wait for the timeline that okay, so now the portal opens up and now I have to submit. The one can send their proposals through only for like only for reviewing purposes. Like they can send their draft through the mails as well as through the communication channel with their mentors or the organization admins, whichever the way they are convenient. And I would always suggest that the people should get their proposals reviewed prior to submitting to their final submission, because this only helps to get your things refined, like more structured, more refined. And they generally provide you with better feedback, which can help you, which can definitely help you stand out from the other people as well. So yeah, this is something also you have to take care about.
Mm. Thank you so much, Jaskirat.
Yeah. So moving ahead, Samar, this question is for you. Like, as GSoC is organized by Google, so what do developers or mentors or project admins get in return?
I can't answer this for sure now, because during the GSoC Mentor Summit this year, a lot has changed. But prior to that, GSoC program was for of 3 months duration, and you would get stipend based upon the purchasing power parity of the currency. For India, it was around. I guess it's $3,000, but now I'm not sure. They have changed a lot of things in the upcoming GSoC programs, and I don't believe you get much of swags as well, except for the the general contribution efforts, and you get to learn how to work remotely overseas with a lot of developers on various tech stacks working side by side. I think that's the best part that you get from the GSoC program itself, rather than anything else that you get in return.
Okay, so just Kirat, so you can tell like what mentors or project admins get in return by with from Google.
They get the good contributors, I would say, in generally.
Yeah,
But yeah, so if you're talking about on the other side, like Google do pay some stipend to the organizations or the projects as well, just like the students, right? And those like they it all depends upon the slots, the number of slots the specific organization receive. uh, till date they used to follow up with around $500, I guess, for specific slot. And again, the organizations also get the swags which general students get. So yeah.
yeah. So that's a pretty huge amount. So
I,
moving
I
ahead.
actually would like to clarify this thing. They have stopped shipping in these swags and so
Yeah.
forth. They don't ship that anymore.
Yeah. So the mentors also get a certificate from Google. Obviously, the participants also get that. And yes, as they said, and they have stopped shipping swags. But yeah.
That's a bad luck for us. So, anyways, so moving ahead.
Okay, so moving ahead, this is the question for Samarth. As you have already contributed to GSoC, how often did you report to your mentor or community admin? Either, and how's the flow like? Like how often do you report to your mentor?
Well, the exchange was quite often between us. So our GSoC program during our GSoC program, I had two mentors actually. So I had two meetings per week with the mentors itself, one with mentor A and one with mentor B. And apart from that, the whole community itself, the ones that are conducting projects. So our organization had 9 projects going side by side. So all of us interacted once a week as well. So in total, there were 3 meetings to describe what exactly is going on, and on what phase my project is, and on what phase the project C and D are, so that we actually internet connect with each other and try to help with each other's doubts as well. For example, let's say I'm good in web dev. If someone else is doing web dev and they're trying to get to a point where at the end that they are at some point where they are not able to find some sort of solution, I can step in and help them with this PR or one minor issue and so forth. So that kind of meetings always take place, and I think it's inevitable that you go on without having a flow like that.
Yeah, and I think that this must have been notified by the mentor, I guess, that the number of times you have to report.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you as well. If you want to have more than the meetings that they specified, they are pretty much okay with it. But the general meeting per week schedule is, I believe, so one for every organization out there.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, Samarth.
Okay, so this question is for Shivansh. So, what is the role of a mentor and what do they do? So, how is the flow like?
Okay, so the responsibilities or the roles of a typical mentor for GSoC or GSOD is like they act as a link between the administrator or the org admin and the student. So the things are like they share project enhancement roadmaps or the plan the student participant is having in mind with the org admin, and like the daily reports or the weekly reports of the student that they are mentoring with the org admin. All the things are shared with the org admin to keep them up to date with all the transformation going on with the project. And as far as the responsibilities with the towards the student participant is considered, so these are like we conduct a weekly, like twice in a week or a weekly meeting. So that is for resolving the doubts, clearing all the doubts, communicating with them on the regular basis, and like understanding the issues they are facing, or if they are not available for that week, we all keep a track of all that. And mentors are expected to give a constructive feedback on whatever the student participant is doing, and like mm, be patient and respectful towards the student participants and their work. Also, I consider that after everything is finished, like the GSoC or GSOD is finished, we work with the devs and the community to facilitate their work, and like their acceptance of the work they do.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you, sir.
Okay, so moving ahead, this is especially a question for Jaskirat. What is the role of community admin? Like, do they report to someone in Google? Like, devs contribute, like, mentors have said they report and keep checks. After all this, what do community admins do basically?
Okay, so generally, community administrators are the captains of a ship. So, like, they are very much responsible for everything which happens inside the community, and like, I mean, like in this specific program and within specific community. So they act as a license. I mean, like between the Google and the community, right? And they are responsible for everything. I mean, like whether the things are working fine inside the community with the project or not, like they are responsible for the meetings are being scheduled properly or not, uh, for any disputes being arised within the specific project or between the mentors and the students, making the things like they keep on check on everything. But yes, they don't like they do report to Google as well, but that is something which is like whether the student is on a time or not, they are cooperating with the project or not. So these are a few things like which is in the hands of the community administrator, and they generally report to the Google. But apart from these things, the responsibilities are pretty much same, which is the same as the mentor. So like they have to conduct the meetings maybe in the week or bi-weekly, like whatever it may be. They have to cop up with the project reports. They have to cop up with the project feedbacks, the project ideation. So yeah, it's almost the pretty much same which the mentor holds.
Thank you so much, Jaskirat.
Yeah, I would also like to ask about the evaluation process which a student undergoes. So, if you can tell that all as well.
Yeah, so talking about the evaluation, so generally student evaluates the mentor, if I'm not wrong, but mentors evaluate the student after every like they are generally like till now, like we used to have three evaluations, but I guess from now the evaluations have been shortened to the two. So and the community administrators are responsible that all the evaluations take on time, and whether the like suppose if any mentor miss any evaluation, so it's the responsibility of the community administrators to like submit those evaluations on time, because there are many like I would say many disadvantages to of not submitting the evaluation on time. So the organization administrators have to keep a check on everything since from the start of the project to the end of the program. So yeah.
Okay, so it was really helpful. So, moving ahead, this question is for Samarth. So Samarth, tell us about what are the changes that are have been done in GSoC 2021, or is it the same?
I mean, I think the mentors and community admins would be the better one to answer this question, since this was the mentor summit that these changes were
Yeah.
around. But more or less, the changes are the projects have been shortened. The workload has been halved. For example, if you were to support XR, you are now supposed to perform X by 2, as simple as that. Stipend, I believe, so has been halved too. And the as just Keith mentioned, the evaluations have been dropped down to 2 as well.
Mm.
And one more thing, I'm not sure about this. I think you don't need to dedicate your entire time to GSoC now. You can actually do it more of as a side quest in your life's goal, I would say.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
so
and
true.
moreover, till now the GSoC was only limited to the undergraduates, the university students, but from now it has been opened up for the boot camps and the coding clubs as well. So yeah, it is again really.
Yeah. Uh, the stipend has been decreased to like half of what they were giving last year. Also, the coding period has been like reduced to 175 hours or 10 weeks.
Okay, so thank you for the
Thank you so much
insights.
for updating us. Okay, so here's the question for you, Shivansh. Shivansh, I'm actually so excited for this. Like, does qualifying for GSoC ensure getting placed somewhere? Like, how strong will GSoC show up in a student's resume?
I am jobless.
Okay, so what I consider is like GSoC definitely adds a feather to your cap, but this does not guarantees a placement or like to a reputed organization. Yeah, you can get a referral from the employees working at Google, but that does not ensures that you are going to get a definite job at Google or any FANG or MNC. So I would like to say people consider like cracking after going into GSoC they will definitely get placed, but it's not the scene. You need to like
I think he has
I
some mic
think
issue.
you got disconnected.
Anyway,
Okay,
like
someone,
I
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
you can continue.
Yeah, so I would like to highlight something over here, and something which the mindset which we have been carry forwarding it is something that people generally take GSoC as an IS exam in the technical world, right? If like they generally feel that like if they are not able to crack the GSoC, they won't be able to get placed in the Google or some MNC, like better MNCs, right? So it's totally wrong. It all depends upon your hard work, your smart work, which you work upon, right? The GSoC is something which only adds a kind of a cherry on your resume, right? So it also doesn't guarantee that if you clear GSoC, you will be placed. Again, you have to work hard for that. So and it's totally fine even if you are not able to crack the GSoC. There are many other opportunities as well which you can avail. So but yeah, if you are targeting the GSoC, you should be passionate and focused around so that you get a better glimpse of how things work and what learnings you are able to take away. So yeah.
Thank you so much for clearing the myth, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So moving ahead, Samarth. So do we have something similar as GSoC, and what is its value?
Yeah, actually, there are a lot of programs like this that actually promote open source contribution, or in general, that provides some sort of opportunity to work for bigger organization out there. Uh, well, some of the examples are Outreachy, MLH Fellowship, you might have heard about. There's also Indian versions of this. There's actually Kharagpur Winter of Code, if you might have heard about it. Our college, JIIT 128, actually does this. It's called JIIT Winter of Code 2, in case anyone is interested. And I mean, there are a ton of projects that promote open source. Even Hacktoberfest is supposed to do that, but a lot of people end up, spamming PRs of these positories just to get a shirt and so forth.
Yeah, it was so true.
The only thing required is that you need to research, you need to explore, and you will definitely land up somewhere, I guess.
Yeah,
Definitely,
exactly.
definitely.
Okay, so moving ahead, so Jaskirat, so as development seems a tedious task, so how to keep ourselves motivated for the same?
Okay. So, talking about the motivation, I'm not sure like how exactly the motivation is within the developer. Like, so, but generally, if you are working in the development programs or development projects, so the only thing is about like you should be focused around the approaches which you are taking for a specific problem, and the smartest and the shortest way which you are taking around. And you have to you generally you have to keep participating in some of the discussions, in some of the ideation, in order to feel that okay, so this is something which you can come across and you are able to devote your better opinions over there. And that is something which always encourages you to move forward while you are working for any project. So yeah, so involve yourself as much as you can with the discussion, with the ideas, with the developments, and keep taking some feedback, the better suggestions from the communities or from the your mentors or the other people who can help you. And definitely I think that this can help you out. So yeah.
Yeah, it was really nice to hear. Um,
Okay, so the question is for Samarth. Like, as development seems a tedious task, how
Okay,
to make
so
ourselves
I would I
motivated?
would like to I would like to add a bit a thing.
Yeah, sure.
So I wanted to say that the thing that keeps the student participant or someone motivated while working with the development program is
so I guess Shivansh is having some network issues on his side. So, anyways, he will continue. So,
I
moving
think
ahead over to you, Simran. Yeah, yeah.
we can continue with Samarth.
Sure, sure, no issues. I
Yeah.
mean, to keep yourself motivated, I think it's a very personal question. Just some people find motivation in money, some find in the fact that you're able to help someone. So, what happens is whenever you program, you end up hitting Stack Overflow on a daily basis. So, I like the fact that if I can develop or add some sort of code that helps a person over on the internet, that what keeps me motivated to continue on the development. I built this feature that helped this some random guy over the internet to continue on. And honestly speaking, money also is a huge factor to continue on development for some people, and including myself.
Thank you so much, Samarth. Okay, so now we will be asking you the questions which some students want you to answer. So the first question is from Digvijay. Okay. Okay, so Samarth or Jaskirat, any one of you can answer. Okay, let's start with Jaskirat. So Digvijay has asked, I am a competitive programmer around 1850 rating, currently on CodeChef, but I have no experience or knowledge in development. So I have just completed my third SEM. What would you recommend me?
Okay, so again, it's a question like whether you are like it's a question focused around GSoC stuff, or like it's a question around for learning phase, right? So I would just like to mention is that like if you hold some better knowledge in the development stuff as well, because at the last or whenever you get into a specific company, you have to work around in the development phase, right? So in order to be a part of those future plans, I would suggest you that start early with the development programs, with the development skills. And definitely the CP, like the competitive programming, definitely helps you in approaching the problems. So uh, I would only recommend start with the development if you can, because that will only help you sharp your skill set. It will also help you build up some better mindset, how to approach the problem and how to represent it in the user interfaces ways. So yeah, this is what my suggestion would be.
Okay, I would like to extend it a little more. like some people, like some freshers, they're so confused between like they should be going with CP or web development. Like, would you like to throw some light on like CP is greater or web development is greater? Like, any suggestion on that?
Mm, I think that's a very perplexed question. I mean, both of them are important if you want to be a good programmer at the end of the day. So picking one over another seems unfruitful at all. And the fact that the question mentioned here, having an 1850 rating, that's Division One by the third sem itself, it's a very good achievement. I believe so. If you are very much familiar with C, C++, there are actually a lot of development tools out there in C world itself. Qt is one of the popular ones, and you can actually start within the development phase by sticking to C++ if you like as well, or you can start off something entirely different too. Because I mean, competitive programming would definitely help you in being well versed with the concepts of DS and so forth. But you actually also need to learn how to build something at the end of the day.
Yeah, that was amazing.
What I consider is like if a person is good in competitive programming, then the logic building and the rational thinking is the main concept behind competitive programming, and they can look for backend development and the issue like the repositories related to backend or shell scripting, which will be a much better option. Like the repositories related to Python, C++, Django are much doing this stuff, so that can help them a lot.
Yeah. So, yeah, that means development and competitive coding go hand in hand. So,
Definitely.
moving ahead, for this question was asked by Vallari. So, she asked, like, how do I choose a project to contribute to?
Well, starting off, I would say try to join the Slack or any sort of communication channel of the project that you are interested into. Take a look at their tech stack, and try to look for PRs with the label of good first issue. These are basically beginner issues, so that's the best way to start with. To contribute some PRs into a project, mark out labels, and just keep on communicating. Because one of the major things that I faced when I started to contribute to some project was that I wasn't vocal enough. I was not able to express my own opinion. You need to learn how to express your own opinion at the end of the day. It doesn't matter if you're very good at CP or development or anything. If you don't express your own opinion, you won't be able to, project your own thinking or logics that you want to be a part of this project or so forth.
Yeah, it was well answered.
Okay, so moving on to the next question. It's a bit long, okay, but any one of you can answer. So this is the question from Nishtha Agarwal. Uh, she's saying that I am a fresher who started learning C++ course in 12th standard. I have joined C++ Launchpad course, basically DSA at coding blocks. I understood somewhat what GSoC is, but then how and when to start course, how to arrange team and mentor is still a big question. Maybe you can help me, or maybe I'm too young to understand. Also, I'm really fascinated about web development. So, is competitive programming a right path for me?
I think you should really, I mean, take a chill pill at the end of the day. You're not missing out on anything at all. You're actually doing pretty good than the competition. Remember, it's not a race. Uh, Try to have fun along the way. And as per your question, since you are very much you have gone through DSA courses already with C++, I would say there are projects with Qt, and basically kernel programming is also a huge opportunity for you. Kernels are mostly written in C and so forth. So you can try contributing into that if your interest aligns with it. Otherwise, you are doing pretty good at this age. Being a freshman and constantly chasing three, four things at the same time, I would say I think you'll do great. Just relax a bit. You're not missing out on anything at all.
I think Nishta has got the answer for her question. Okay, so basically it's time to. Okay, so here's a question from live chat. Any one of you can answer. Who takes that in and how to check if our proposal is received or not? Do wait.
Well, for the student side itself, whenever you create an account for the GSoC program itself, you have a dashboard to track all your proposals, and it's more of a GUI present for you. For
Yeah.
informal opportunities or to get in reviews, you can send your proposals to the mentors itself just to finalize the one that you are about to send. Uh, that's it, I guess.
Yeah, so the next question is by Ram Bagga. So tell us some skills one should learn to be able to be useful to open source community. So that's a good question. So anyone can answer. So just Kirat, so if you can answer that.
Sure. So, like again, like open source is a very vast field, and one needs to understand every aspect, like how one can get involved into the open source community in a much better way. Open source is like it's a kind of a field which helps you learn and drill up your skills in a very better way. Like it's give you hands-on experience while collaborating on a major scale projects. So like suppose if I generally take out like Sugar Labs is a kind of organization which builds projects for the kids oriented. So and they have projects like suppose if you just have a skill set like which is limited to the JavaScript or like one or the other language, right? By contributing to the open source, you always get a chance to expand your skill set by knowing the facts. Okay, so for this thing, we would be requiring of this specific thing, and we can be a part of this in this specific thing, right? So they can follow up with the communication channel. They can communicate with the community members. They can receive feedback on how to approach the things, how to learn those skill set, or how or what skill set would be required to in order to do specific thing, right? And again, open source is something which actually means that you have to keep everything open unless and until it is something private, right? Just talking about even the conversations as well. Generally, organization avoid answering you in the private unless and until it's not visible to the public, or like it's something which can't be talked in the public, right? So you have to take care of the things, like you have to converse, like you have to communicate with the organizations or the community members in the public communication channels, and unless and until it is private, because that something which they promotes or they supports healthy communication, and that would only come when you communicate things in the public channels, right? And other thing is that you have to take care of the copyrights, like things like generally like license, if I'm not wrong. So you have to take care of the license as well whenever you are contributing to the open source. You have to understand the code of conduct, the charter of every organization. Code of conduct is again a kind of the ethics which the specific organization or the community works upon, and you should be very care about, you should take very I mean, like you should be very much cautious about the code of conduct and the charter which they follow. So I think like these are the basic things which would definitely add up into your skill set, and they can help you learn in much better ways. So yeah.
Okay, so moving ahead, Shivansh, if is are there any tips which you think are important and which will enlighten us, our audience, in getting through? So these tips.
Wait, Shriyanshi. I guess there was one more question
Okay, okay,
from
so
the audience.
no
Okay,
worries.
so there's one more question from Aman Manapure. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. What are the prerequisites for GSoC?
Okay, so what I think is prerequisites for GSoC are like the organization is obviously on GitHub, so you need to learn the Git commands to get familiar with the repository, to set it up at your local machine, interact with the people in the community, because interacting shying away is not a thing, because shying away every time will not let the mentors or the org admins know you are interested in the project. When you interact with them, know that let them know your idea, then only you'll be able to like strengthen your chances to get selected. So it's like there are some project ideas listed by an organization, but always there is a chance of like getting a new idea, because if the organization gets more slots than expected, so there is a chance to accommodate a project idea that a student has proposed. So always keep your idea like always try to let them know your idea. And that's all, because GSoC is all about interaction, coding, and development. So that's all the prerequisites that I think are for GSoC.
Yeah, I think the question is answered beautifully. Okay, so
Okay, so
Shriyanshi,
I
you can
guess all
continue.
the questions are answered. So now moving ahead with our last question. So this is kind of like, are there any tips which you think are important and which will enlighten our audience in getting through? So I want this question to be answered by all three of you. Like, so starting with the Jaskirat. So
Yeah, so basically, my answer would again be the same. It's totally fine if you are not able to crack the GSOC like programs. Like there are many other opportunities available. You should keep exploring. You should keep involving yourself in the various like the programs which provides you with the better learnings, and you should focus around and you should move forward with the, I mean, like with the vision to learn something new, right? Because if you are planning to learn something new, then only I feel that like that makes you feel more comfortable and satisfying for a specific thing. And yeah, and other thing is that like again the open source is a vast field. You should take care about everything which I mentioned about. And so I feel that like open source is something which everyone should experience it, right? So take a chance, I feel that, and definitely you will learn something new.
yeah, so Shivansh, sir, would you like to give us some tips for the same?
So like I would like to add, just Keita said. So GSoC is all about like boosting your learning and getting some practical exposure. So just be calm, select your organization you want to work with, the it whether it matches your technical domain. Like if you're well versed with a technical domain, then go ahead, choose a organization that matches it. Otherwise, if you are new, then select something that you want to learn and you know that you can learn it really good. So then go ahead, interact with the community. And an important note I want to give, like if you are just looking out for something like stipend or swags from GSoC, then it's not the right place, because if you're just behind the stipend, then that's not what GSoC is made for. GSoC is like really a prestigious program just for contributions and valuable contributions, I mean, say.
Thank you so much, Shivansh. Okay, Samarth, if you also wanna put your views on this?
I think pretty much everything is covered up. The opinions as projected before, these are some things that I highly agree to. Apart from this, I would just give you a generous tip. Don't think that you're missing out on anything if you miss out, your opportunity to be in GSoC. And it's not a necessity to be a part of GSoC right from the first year itself. You can, take some time, adjust yourself. Like I see these questions a lot in my LinkedIn chats and so forth, that I'm a first year student and so forth. How do I do this? How do I crack GSoC and so forth? It's not a competitive exam to crack at the end of the day. You're just here to make commits and be a part of something bigger. So it's fine if you miss out on this. It's not about having the money or any sort of recognition like that from the first year itself. It's fine if you miss out on this.
So there are other programs like the Girl Script Summer of Code, or like Script Winter of Code. We have other open source Outreachy or something like that. We have other open source programs. So you can join that, learn from the programs that have the essence of open source. This will give you an practical exposure, just like GSoC. GSoC and nothing much more greater from this. With just it's a program with a Google tag, so you can learn from all of these programs. So you need not to run behind them.
Yeah, so here we end our session. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Sir Shivansh, Jaskirat, and Samar. So it was really, really nice to have you on board. So we would like an end note from you guys. So if you can please provide us some end note.
Well,
I guess a one
what
line note, like you can give us a shout out at least. So yeah.
Well, I would recommend you to at least follow pages of DSC JIIT 128, DSC BVP, and all. Subscribe to this channel. I'm not a YouTuber.
Yeah.
I'm doing something out of my comfort zone. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was a really great session to have you all here, and yeah, you have gave us such precious time of yours. So
I would like
Well, it was
to I would like to wish all the GSoC aspirants, GSoC 21 aspirants, a great year ahead, and hope they get selected for that. And also a shout out to DSC JIIT and DSC BVP.
yeah, so thank you so
And
much, everyone.
mhm. Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
for
much, everyone, also the audience who's watching. Okay, so we would also like to give a shout out to our DSC chapters, that is DSC JIT 128 and DSC BVP. So thank you so much, amazing mentors of today's webinar. Thank you so much, and thank you so much, the lovely audience too.
yeah, and we hope that people got to know what they were hunting for, and let's hope for the best. All the best for the GSOC.
All the best, guys.
yeah, all
Yeah,
those